welcome to the video and welcome to Luxembourg. Hello everybody, so this video is from when me and my boyfriend were staying in Brussels in Belgium and we decided to take a day trip to Luxembourg. We booked through Get Your Guide with Brussels City Tours and I'll leave a link below if you want to book it yourself. We had to meet outside the National Bank of Belgium at 8:30 in the morning so we could start our long drive to Luxembourg. On this tour, you do get to stop off at another Belgian town called Dinant, which is about halfway between Brussels and Luxembourg. It took us an hour and a half to drive there from Brussels, and as you enter the town, you have to drive through a rock and the coach only just fits.
Yeah, if a bus was a little bit bigger, we could not get through it, but still, we have a very, very good driver today. You have to know that not all of the drivers that you're going to be finding want to have this experience as they get here to the city of Dinant. Bueno, fijaos qué alegría, un aplauso, ¿no? Algo, un aplauso.
So we have made it to Dinant, which is a southern town in Belgium. So we're close to the border of Luxembourg and Belgium. And the tour guide Sergio gave us lots of interesting facts on the way here. He literally said that this place is only like 4 streets long and they're trying to get back into slow tourism, but it is the birthplace of Adolphe Sax, who is the inventor of the saxophone, and they've got all these cool little painted saxophones along the bridge and they're all different countries, and this is the United Kingdom one. So because the town is only a few streets wide, there wasn't a huge amount to do in Dinant. We went into a cafe to grab a quick breakfast, got some photos by the river, and then it started to pour it down with rain. Annoyingly, we'd left our umbrellas on the coach, so we headed into the church for some shelter. You get an hour to look around Dinant, so before we knew it, it was time to get back on the warm bus and drive the next hour and a half to Luxembourg. There is no border control when you enter Luxembourg from Brussels, but there is a hut that signifies the border. This is good as it means we weren't stuck in traffic for a long time.
The year 1890, and that is due to one thing which happened, which is that the Salic law did not allow William III to get to have, well, the girls that he had as heirs. They could be Queen of the Netherlands, but they could not be.
So we've made it to Luxembourg and we are now doing the guided tour for about an hour and a half around the city, and then we get some free time for about 2 hours, which would be good. So we started our tour by walking underneath the Pont Adolphe Bridge and ending up with this beautiful panoramic view of the bridge we just walked under. This is the Monument of Remembrance, or as it's more commonly known, the Golden Lady. It was erected in 1923 to remember those from Luxembourg who volunteered to join the Allied forces in the First World War but sadly lost their lives. During the Second World War in 1940, the German troops crossed into Luxembourg and destroyed the monument, pulling the Golden Lady down. However, in January of 1980, 2 officials from the city of Luxembourg found the destroyed head under the stands of the municipal football stadium. In 1984, reconstruction began on the head and it was returned to the top of the monument in May 1985. We then headed across the road to the Cathedral Notre Dame of Luxembourg. The foundation stone for the original church that was built here was laid in 1613. The architecture reflects a Gothic style with components inspired by the Renaissance style. Behind the church there is a statue of the Grand Duchess Charlotte, who was very popular and ruled from 1919 to 1964. During the Second World War, she had become the symbol of Luxembourg's independence through her broadcasted speeches in Luxembourgish on the BBC. So we just learnt about Charlotte, one of the duchesses, and she actually had to do a lot for the country, which is really interesting to hear about. So this is the palace, which is really pretty, and a lot of the architecture is kind of very similar to this. The Grand Palace is home to Henri, the Grand Duke of Luxembourg. Our guide told us that because this is such a small and safe city, he is often seen walking around the town and locals will stop and talk to him. Although we didn't get to go inside, we did get to watch the changing of the guard. Luxembourg has 3 official languages: French, German, and Luxembourgish. The text on the side of this building is Luxembourgish. We then walked on a little further to see where the remains of the old castle would have been. We also got to look over this beautiful part of the city that they refer to as the ground because it's lower than where we were standing. This part also reminded me of Salzburg. Check out my Salzburg video if you haven't already. It's like a little fairy tale village. So we've come for lunch at one of the restaurants on the square that our tour guide suggested. Apparently it's like the only square that has all the restaurants on it. So we're at a place called La Boucherie, which is a steakhouse. So it's kind of, we think it's assuming like something to do with the butcher or something. So we're going to get some tasty steak. It smells incredible in here. So we're very hungry and we don't have to be back at the coach until 4:30. It's I don't know, like 2:15 now, so we've got a bit of time, and then once we've had lunch we can go explore for a little bit. It's been a really fun day, but let's get some food. The food here was nice, certainly not the best steak I've ever had, but we were hungry and it filled us up. After lunch we had another wander around the city. So we have about 15 minutes until we have to be back on the coach. So we've come down into the like garden bit, which is like, well, they call it the ground because it's lower, which makes sense, which you would have seen from above in the last couple of clips. So we're just walking through the park and then it'll be time to go home because it's a 3-hour drive from Luxembourg back to Brussels. Obviously on the way here we had the stop in Dinant, so it was an hour and a half to Dinant, then we had an hour in Dinant, and then it was an hour and a half on to Luxembourg. And yeah, so I don't think we're stopping on the way back, so it'll be 3 hours straight home. But yeah, this is the park. Toby is currently behind me chatting to ChatGPT, asking it some questions. But yeah, it's nice to be around nature. And before we knew it, it was time to head back to our meeting point and hop on the coach home. On the way back, we didn't stop off anywhere, so we drove the full 3 hours back to Brussels. Once we got off the coach, we headed back to our hotel, ordered a takeaway for dinner, and had a cozy night in. I hope you enjoyed watching this day trip to Luxembourg, and if you were thinking about doing this trip, I hope this video has helped you make a decision. Like I said at the beginning of this video, I'll leave a link to the tour that we booked in the description below. And make sure you subscribe to my channel to see my next video, which will be my guide of things to do in Brussels. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.